pawns, man, in the game, they get capped quick. They be out the game early.
Unless they some smart-ass pawns.
This is not meth.
Walter White loves explosions, I've kind of remembered. And that was back when Oz was at simpler times, before Jesus. We'll get to that tonight. We are on season 5 of Breaking Bad and Oz. We are deep into school with The Wire. We'll be talking more about The Wire tonight. We capped off last week's episode by ending Oz is our worst. Oz season 4 is our worst ranked to this point. Season 4 of Breaking Bad is the highest. So total switches where we're at, and I believe The Wire season 4 will join Breaking Bad at the top sooner than later. But we'll see how everybody is ready. What's that sound? Is that me? Did anybody else hear that, or is that just me?
Hear what? What are you talking about?
Okay, I'm gonna go crazy. This is gonna drive me crazy the entire episode. It's like this rattling in my ear. It's like a clock or something. Maybe I'm turning into Captain Hook. Who knows? I'm hearing a clock. All right. First up, Matt, our Oz, the person that took over Oz because Mike never came back. So, how
Mike is currently serving his sentence in Oz.
Yeah. And how was your viewing experience?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's some good times. The Wire and Breaking Bad are just firing on all cylinders, and Oz is a television show.
It is. Next up, Mark Menchaca. How are you? How was your viewing experience?
You know what? It wasn't bad. I did enjoy it. There's a chance the rattling sound you're hearing is my fan. I do get hot in here. Turn it off if need be. But stuff happens in Oz. Just it does.
I've never heard it before, but I know Texas is hot. Now that I know where it's coming from and it's not me, I can adjust. I've said this numerous times on the show. We have literally put like two TV shows that would arguably in the top 10 of people's critics things, and then we just did Oz because we liked Oz. Like, we wanted to talk about how crazy Oz was. Didn't realize the craziness lasted this long, but we're here for it. We're finishing it. We're writing it out.
Let's throw some respect on Oz. If it wasn't for us talking about Oz, none of this would be.
He keeps saying that. You know what? I think it's all the mistakes. They learn not to make the same mistakes at this point. But like I say all the time, most podcasts would have quit by now. We are still here. We are still going. So we've decided to switch our order. Because we seem to run out of steam when we get to Breaking Bad. And Oz fires up the group so much that we use all our energy for Oz. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Wire. We're going to let Menchaca cook. We're just going to let him, like Breaking Bad would. He's going to cook a nice batch. Then we're going to give it to the tweakers in the middle. We're going to talk about Oz. And then we're going to let Walt decide what happens at the end with me. So we're switching up the order. We'll see how it goes. I think it will work better because last episode Matt was dragging, and it's 50 minutes for Oz regardless what we do. So we are here breaking for Wire. Mark, tell us.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good thing we're doing that because if there is some shit to talk about, Oz. But we will start with episode 8, season 4, Corner Boys. Corner Boys start with the school and corner kids storyline. Get kind of a funny cold open. Prez doing a math problem. couple of his kids, working smarter, not harder. Notice the dinks on the board, which definitely take me back to those old times. Yeah, just recognizing the answer whenever you see them. The Corner Kid program, somewhat under control at this point. I think the kids kind of know that they can't get out of the class anymore, and now they're kind of in this. Well, if we're here, we might as well be here. Bunny, I think, is kind of smart in this. He kind of starts getting them talk about kind of what they know. He gets them talking about the streets and kind of gets them more engaged in this program, noticing that they are starting to become, more engaged. Michael notices that Randy wasn't really away that long, even though he was, accused of rape. And he's like, "Hey, you weren't gone that long. So did they do anything happen? Like, were you stitching or something?" He notices maybe a thing is a little bit up. And of course, we also get the Naaman's mom, kind of a bitch. Notices, Naaman violin up in his room, although maybe like a reason.
Kinda?
Yeah.
Kinda? Like, no, I'm certified. Certified.
Well, you don't want your kid, bring his work home with him, especially when he's like piling up drugs. Like maybe she was, kind of got a bit of a point in this one.
Worst mom ever.
Yeah.
A little bit of looking at Michael still being the head, kind of making it seem like he's holding the DSS card. Kind of gets into a bit of an argument with his mom about her possibly selling food on the street for drugs. A little bit couldn't find the rice-a-roni. Kind of same
How much
thing.
does rice-a-roni go for on the street?
I mean, maybe when I don't know, they maybe had some instant mash, maybe some stovetop,
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you get a 10 cents? Or what are we talking about here?
The kid, there was a kid that looked hungry, so she gave him the rice-a-roni.
Oh,
you're an enabler, Matt. That's what you're saying.
That was the best part. I was like, "Did you cook it for him?" I was like, "No."
gave him a box.
Gave him the box.
We get to Prez talking about challenging the classroom, trying to get his kids where they need to be. He gets to talk about, trying to get to stick to curriculum, or else, they're going to get run by the state. A little bit more on that later. But somebody's also come home for Michael. Bugs' birth dad, his stepdad, has now come home, back from prison. And Michael, is definitely not cool about it, to say the least. Very unhappy. Prez kind of notices this as he's sitting in his class, kind of maybe says, "Hey, maybe you want to talk to a social worker or something." Michael doesn't really seem all for it. Now, going back over to Bunny and the Corner Kids program, notices that, they are starting to open up more, notice their involvement. And they kind of wanted to try to get this into unknown topics. I want to see to kind of put them out of their comfort zone a little bit. Naaman points Kennard as his lieutenant. Now he makes it his job to vial it up. And what do you know? Doesn't have a good corner. Naaman's mom, total bitch, goes over to Bodie, says, "Hey, you better give my kid a better corner." Like any good mom does. She just has a good business sense.
We got two moms on the show right now going head to head for worst mom ever. It's a close competition.
Yeah, he's not moving enough on this quarter, so we need to get him a better one. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. If you're asking me, she's running away with it. I don't know what you guys are talking about. She's clearly
There's one thing about turning a blind eye, and then there's nothing of like literally in the mix with your child. Like, that's crazy.
She is going straight to a drug dealer, say, "Hey, you better get my kid a better corner because we're not making enough money." Like, there's something about that. Yeah. Then lastly, get kind of a little bit of an eye-opening moment. Michael goes to pick up his brother from like a daycare after-school program. the lady tells him, hey, like actually his dad came and picked him up earlier. He freaks out, runs home. The moment he gets home, he's like, Bug, you better get over here now. I would feel like if at this point, like, we're not sure what's going on with Michael, like this, I feel like kind of made it pretty clear at this point. Like I think we understood what was happening here. Moving on to police politics, just mashing that up. Honestly, we're just going to do that for all 3 episodes. Politics and the police kind of seem to coalesce the whole time. Homicide gets a visit from Tommy. He wants to get a feel about how the department responds to the murders. Bunk is actually able to convince one of the detectives to go back on the Omar murder scene. They're definitely not happy about it, but he's able to at least convince one of the guys to, like, hey, something's not right here. Doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense. The colonel for CID for homicide died, Raymond Foster. So, you know, we got to hold a detective's wake for him. One place I believe we see McNulty. Another slight McNulty sighting here. After Tommy is in with homicide, he rides with the Eastern District, gets a feel of what their street work looks like, and it looks kind of shitty. They're arresting, you know, civilians. Some guy trying to get to work and just buy some drugs for them. Like not like the top end of police work we're seeing down here at the Eastern District. Bunk and Vernon go check out the Omar scene again, and even though Bunk is hungover as hell, sees nothing about this guy's story makes sense. Notices that the place is a stash house. The 9mm, him saying Omar used a 9mm doesn't make any goddamn sense. Points at the old bullet hole and is like, yeah, Omar definitely robbed this place. And like, there's no reason Omar come here for 9mm if he's not, you know, putting a 45 in this bulletproof wall up here.
What everybody should have known as soon as it happened. Like, how the hell is it Omar? The man's only been walking around with certain gun types as this, for 3 seasons? And now he just does a random killing. What, because they didn't have the cereal? Like, what are we talking about? There's no shot. Like, that's so dumb.
I feel like that puts into perspective kind of where Omar fits into everything. That, there are certain people that know Omar, do kind of like Omar, but at the same time, they're like, like not everybody, like everybody does kind of see him as like this kind of murderer scumbag, and like only kind
He's
of
Robin Hood.
Yeah, most of the cops would have been fine letting him go down for this because, like, he's killed a bunch of people. Just,
but he doesn't. He doesn't really kill anybody that's not affiliated with, like, that's also on the cops' radar. Basically,
he's not a bad murderer.
No, he's Robin Hood. He literally is. Like, he robs from the drug dealers and, like, takes for himself. But overall, like,
it just doesn't give to the poor part.
Yeah, so. He just doesn't. He misses the poor part. But knowing by how the gang, how Baltimore is ran, everybody's in with somebody. Like, everybody's connected. Like, he can't give to anybody because even the children and the mobs are with him. So he's just gotta take care of himself, and he can't get the damn cereal.
Yeah, he just can't get the honey nut anywhere. Especially not in jail. Anyway, Tommy now heads over to Rawls. More or less going over to Rawls is kind of taking over the day-to-day, kind of trying to put Burrell in the back seat. Rawls, he kind of says, yeah.
This is totally off topic, and I just wanted to derail the conversation for about 3 seconds. I can't look at Rawls without seeing this and the elevator coming down to hit him anymore. That's all I see. All I see. The ex-mayor, same. I see something different, but this one is just literally that. That's all I can see. So, yeah. And I know we saw him before. We saw him as an officer before we saw him in Oz, but that season 4 ruined Rawls for him.
Rawls wouldn't be dumb enough to just stand there under an elevator.
No, he put he took Jimmy and put him under it first.
saw so much of him though. There's so much. We saw him
I know.
being a dick on the squad. He's a gay
Yep.
guy. Like, you know, all that.
Ah, that's it. That's it. That's all I see. Proceed. Sorry.
Anyway, Tommy tells him, "Hey, listen, the days of stat chasing are done. We're gonna do quality policing." Gets into this also weird, awkward moment about. Believe his quote to him was, "I'm no more of a racist than you," kind of attributing it to like kind of affirmative action type shit. It was a weird topic. Definitely something he probably shouldn't have gotten into. Definitely see.
He would have been fired. He would have been fired in 2024.
Cedric tells Rhonda the mayor wants to meet with him. Oh, I think I maybe skipped that at some point. At some point, like the mayor said he wanted to meet with Daniels, and Rhonda kind of tells him, you know, this is your opportunity to move up. Like the new mayor doesn't call you for no reason, just starting up. Like he definitely probably sees something in you. Bunk gets around back to Andre. Serves him in the grand jury. You're going to testify for the grand jury because they know he's lying about everything. Puts a scare in him. Then going back over to Tommy, kind of over to Tommy's people saying his road to success, kind of leading on like, hey, probably want to make this old mirror stint successful. Put your name on something, get a drop in the crime rate, which, well, counterintuitive at this point, and try to stay away from schools. And like, hey, that's what we're on about. Daniels meeting seems to go well with the mayor. Daniels doesn't really hold back in this meeting. Says, hey, like this is kind of why like a department sucks. You have an opportunity to change it, you know, things like that. And then Rawls, I think, finally meets up with Burrell, kind of the first time in a while, and I think Rawls kind of makes it clear that he's going after the job. And then now, like, they're probably going to be at odds the rest of the way. And then also get a funny little scene when Bunk finally turns in that file over to Landsman about overturning the murder, and he gets pretty pissed. Like, yeah, we don't turn names from black to red. You know, do your fucking jobs type shit. No. Lastly, going over the streets, Mayor Mo's got upset with the complaint that Herc got from the train station. That woman who was stopped needlessly filed it. Makes it clear he's fine with railroading him and something else comes of it. So Herc is starting to get in some deep shit. Starts to really go on the warpath to find this camera. Starts jacking up Marlowe and tell him, hey, camera comes back. Like nothing will come of it. Snoop and Chris still doing their part in killing the New York dealers, kind of making them disappear, kind of same way as everybody else. Marlowe gives Prop Joe like Herc's information, try to figure out kind of who he is, type of thing. Herc still in the war goes jacks up Chris and Snoop, messes with their nail gun, kind of says, I want my fucking camera back. Prop Joe tells Marlowe those New York drug dealer murders got to be made a little bit more public. Kind of leads into like some funny scenes with them, you know, trying to take out these New York guys in public. Like just like honestly, like it's really because they're having like these normal fucking conversations leading up to these murders, and then like they go and like, hey, what's this radio station? And like Snoop almost just fucking caps the guy for no reason.
What you know about Young Leaks?
No, Snoop, he's on the show. Finally, after that, Prop Joe also do kind of funny scene, figures out that Herc is with major crimes, figures that this is probably going to be possibly a problem for Marlowe. Herc also sees that he is no closer to getting his camera. Figures probably the best way he can get over this is now to kind of bring Marimo a bigger case. And he's going to try to use Randy to help give him that bigger case. Maybe use Randy's information to kind of turn that into a murder. So he decides to go after Little Kevin, since Randy kind of named Little Kevin in this. He's going to try to go out and try to solve Lex's murder. At the end, after Chris and Snoop got jacked up, they decide, you know what, probably got to dump some of our stuff. They dump a couple of the weapons along with the $600 nail gun in a creek And that is what we got for Corner Boys.
Yeah, this was a solid episode. Some really good stuff. I love the Prop Joe scene, doing all the different voices, trying to figure out who was investigating them. I thought that was really funny. Yeah, I feel real bad for the nail gun after Snoop went through all that trouble of getting it, and they just have to toss it away. It's real sad.
Hey, she overpaid for it, man.
Yeah, I don't. So the only thing I don't like, I like all the like, I like I think the weakest part, and I still think it's weak from last season to this season, is the political aspect. I don't love that as much as I thought I would, and I'm like one of those like I wouldn't say like I'm like that's the stuff I like look for. Like
Mhm.
I find that stuff interesting. Like I'm just not as thing. It's probably to do with like Littlefinger being at the mayor now. Like I can't. That's a guy that's ruined for me for life. And so I don't look at him and like him as a person or a character. So that's just my only downside on that. And it's like kind of a theme for the next 3 episodes as well. This episode and the next 2, I just don't see it picks to a certain point that I like overly enjoy. But everything else with the characters I do like. Like I love I love like the kid aspect of this season, which I mean it's always been kind of involved, but they're leaning heavily into it on this, which I liked. And I like the police aspect of it. Like I still think that's always interesting. I'm trying to figure out like where the big thing is, because Mark hates it, and I don't mean to do it, but it's a show that wraps in every season, like it wraps up. So I want to see where that like big thing is, because like 3 left me like, oh shit, they got
Stringer and
Stringer
Avon.
and Avon. Like I was like, oh shit, that's 3 years. That's 3 seasons of like building and stuff like that. So I'm curious, but overall, I'm not saying I'm out. I'm just saying like I want to spend more time in Baltimore with the gang, and I don't give a shit about the mayor and that intrigue shit anymore. I found last season more interesting with like the police chiefs and stuff, like saying like, oh, they have to like clean up and they moved all the crap. So that was interesting. They're wasting time on that stuff that I'm not in love with. So.
I like that at least in these episodes, it's pretty much kind of impacting the police department. It's kind of showing the inner workings of that, and I like that kind of, even though he's won and he's going to be the mayor now, he's kind of finding out that really he's not going to be able to do whatever he wants to do. He's still got people that have power that he can't really easily kind of override.
I mean,
Mark
I think there is
disagree more with me.
I think there is a little bit of that. Like, I mean, one thing is I was certain we were going to get to a particular plot point, like in this stretch of 3 episodes. I didn't realize that this one thing kind of happened so late, but it'll get there. But I think other than that, like I just think the constant push and pull I think is very interesting. The one thing I will say I think that is hurting for is I do feel like what they're trying to portray with Tommy is that this is what like kind of the young like political hope looks like. This is kind of what their career trajectory kind of looks like. This is them. This is how they win. This is how they go at winning an election. This is how they become mayor. These are the problems they face, and this is just kind of the constant push and pull that they go in like throughout the whole time. And honestly, like when you have a vision of Littlefinger, like in kind of into like who Carcetti is supposed to be, I can see how like that just kind of corrupts you the entire time. You're just kind of sitting there, no, but like he's a schemer. Like I know he's a schemer. Just look at him.
Well, I mean, he's already talking about the next gig.
Which there is that too, because I do think they're kind of pointing him that, and we also see like there is still like a bit of scumbag in him, which I think makes him interesting, even though like he's supposed to be like the next thing. I think it paints, I think, like this version of politicians in both kind of a optimistic and pessimistic way, which feels very real.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can be all optimistic until you actually run into the system, and the system kicks you back down.
Exactly. Okay, so moving on to episode 9. Know Your Place. Starting off with the cops. Cops politics. A ton in this episode. Bunk gets Omar released. He is now out since they had unsolved his murder, so to speak. And all Bunk really asks of Omar at this point, like, hey, don't kill anyone. Please, God, don't kill anyone. If you don't, that'd be pretty flip and sweet. Just
You
don't
owe
do
me.
that. Get a little look at Kima's home life. She starts to get some of this higher detective pay, goes back home, sees the kid, meets her ex new girlfriend, gets a bit of a kind of. Honestly, I don't really know how to feel about it. Slightly hopeful, slightly sad. Like it's kind of like this weird bit of emotion kind of thrown in there.
Well, I think she sees that her ex went and get the Kima that she wanted Kima to be, the
That
successful lawyer thing.
Tommy starts butting heads with the city council president, Nerese Campbell, immediately over a lot of minor things in the meeting, mainly because of the bump in the commissioner's salary. He really wants to get somebody other than Burrell into this job. Kind of wants to bring at least $50,000 to the new main side to kind of entice more people. And Tommy notices this, and she more or less reveals, like, yeah, I got a problem with you because Royce was supposed to endorse me running for mayor. You and Tony jumped the line, so fuck you guys. Which really funny because, like, I mean, okay. And Tommy responds like, how the fuck was I supposed to know? These are some like backdoor meeting you have with Royce. Like, I sorry I wasn't in the corner of that room. Tommy, Norman, Odell try to work a plan to get Burrell to quit. Maybe they can shame him out or get him out kind of a normal way because they know they can't fire him. Although Burrell makes it pretty clear he's not going to make it easy for him. He says, "Yeah, if you want to get rid of me, you got to shit can me. I'm not going to quit on my own accord just to make things easy for you." And then kind of a same thing before Rawls is given clear directives, kind of how things are going to move forward, while also telling him that he wants Valchek to be promoted, as well as Cedric Daniels, who is now being promoted to colonel, and he will now be the new head of CID homicide, kind of all the high-end investigations. Excuse me. Going on to the streets. Let's get Poot. Poot came home. He is now out of jail. Meets up with Bodie on his new corner. Tells him the sad news. He's now slinging for Marlowe. Comes in. Kirk comes in. Breaks at the party. Looking for a little Kevin. Kirk has no sense of irony in him. Takes everybody who's under 5'6" and liked. Doesn't realize sometimes nicknames are ironic. Joe tells Marlowe that he has major crimes on him. Kind of tells him like all the shit the major crimes unit did. They took down Barksdale, had taps on Stringer Bell, so you could be into some shit. Kind of tells him to just stop using his phones. Bubbles tries to get Kima to help him out with the guy that's been robbing him. She drives him around for a little while, doesn't find the guy.
This motherfucker. I hate this motherfucker.
It's the fucking worst. Like, it's just...
Oh, he's just a fucking dick. Of all the bad people in The Wire, Bubbles annoys the piss out of me half the time. Bubbles does not deserve this. Like every time, Bubbles been stealing copper pipes for 3 seasons now just to get high, and now you're kicking the shit over for $4. Like, this is ridiculous.
$4, a couple buy like that too. Like Bubbles like gives it up pretty quickly a lot of times, and he still like beats the shit out of him most of the time.
Yes.
Like what are you doing? Like
And
what's
this
the guy
time,
surrender?
this time, isn't this the episode where he pulled out the like he had the weapon, like the bat or whatever, and beat the fuck out of him with it?
Oh yeah, I believe that comes
Like,
up.
what the fuck? Like,
But oh fuck, where else? Oh yeah, but no, she just kind of tells him, Kima tells him, I don't work drugs anymore. I'm working homicide, but you know what? I'll put you in touch with Hark. He's kind of working this a little bit more. You know, you kind of do some work for him. He can help you out with this thing. Bodie hooks up Namath with a new corner. I said, hey, I got you down over here. Done everything I can for you. Please don't have your mom come and yell at me again. That is really not cool. You don't understand how not cool that is. And Naaman is like, listen, man, I don't control her or anything. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Marlo notes Andre's absence and all this, and also hears that Omar's been moving jails. He gets to think something is up. That maybe the charge has been dropped, or Andre's moving back on the story. Like, you know what? Maybe we should kind of figure out about that. Puts Chris on the job, and of course, Chris does what he does best. Him and Snoop tool up, head over to Andre's house, threaten his girlfriend, say, "Hey, where is he at?" She's like, "Yeah, he didn't tell me because he knew I had to tell you guys." And like, yeah, makes sense. So they they leave her alone. Bubbles gets up with Herc. Says, "Hey, this is not about the money for me today. Here, I just want to get this guy off my ass." So Herc tells him, "You know what? Just help me figure out who this little Kevin guy is." They do the little hat trick, kind of figure out who Kevin is, and I'll help you deal with this guy. So they do that. Herc picks up little Kevin, and he starts interrogating him. Of course, that goes really poorly because Herc doesn't know how to interrogate anybody, doesn't realize that they don't have like any evidence on little Kevin. And Sidner maybe gives like probably one of my favorite lines in the show, just because he's frustrated. He walks out of that shit. He's like, "Listen, man, you know what we need in a good interrogation? We need leverage." And of course, that dumbass Dozerman is like, "What? We don't have leverage?" And Sidner goes back and very smartly, he's like, "Motherfucker, you don't even have a body. There's nothing but a name in there." Of course, all this is going on while Bubbles is trying to set up this dope fiend, try to get him arrested. Herc tells Dozerman, like, "Hey, I can't tell Bubbles I can't help him out." Dozerman realizes, how am I going to get a hold of him? He called me on a fucking payphone. So, of course, Bubbles thinks the cops are coming to help him get the dope fiend. Of course, he just sees a cop car just pass on by, and Bubbles, like as Cody brought up earlier today, gets the shit beat out of him with a fucking pipe. So now Bubbles a way worse position than he was before. Like now definitely like on this guy's shit list if he wasn't, already. Also going into this interrogation, Herc really goes after little Kevin. And Herc slips up a little bit because little Kevin realizes he hears, oh, they got a witness. It's got to be Randy. Like, even though like Herc doesn't give up Randy by name, like he knows, oh, it's fucking Randy. So, like now, like it is now a little bit more in the sphere that Randy was probably snitching, and not only is Randy somewhat given up here, but Andre goes over to Prop Joe, try to get some type of help from him to get out of town. Andre gives Joe his shop in exchange for $2,000, a measly $2,000, and a ride out of town. Man, that we talk about that dope fiend guy being a piece of shit, but man, fucking Prop Joe takes this guy's shop and gives him $2,000 in a ride home, like for his trouble. Like, come on.
I love too his line about why does everyone think when you run away it just means going across downtown?
Like, there are not very many guys that smell blood in the water like Prop Joe does. So even after all that, Prop Joe gives up Andre, gives him a ride, leads him to Chris and Snoop in an alley. So Andre will now be put into a vacant. So now Andre is unfortunately off the board. Leads us to the Corner Kids school aspect here. Randy wants to use Prez to help him order some candy online. Notices that, hey, I can get this stuff a lot cheaper online. But Daquan says, you need a credit card. We're only 13. We don't have that shit. So he tries to get Prez to order for him, and Prez kind of throws that funny line of like, you want me to do this first and you pay me later? Points on the package? Yeah, no, thank you. So he wants cash up front. Makes it clear like he wants to know where it comes from. They come in with a lot of bills the next day. Randy Daquan kind of looking for a way to make some cheap cash, and they see a dice game going on. It's like, hey, Mr. Prez taught us some probabilities, so let's just make some money on this dice game.
Man, did I call that a couple episodes ago? Loved it. I was like, he's literally telling them how to shoot dice, and yep.
But the key is they learn something.
I mean, like, listen, I feel like they went.
That's why Perez is literally the stupid. Like, he is so dumb. Like,
he taught them
he's not a bad character. He's just dumb. Like, he's like, whoa, what? How could this go bad? Well, I'll tell you how this can go bad, buddy. Real bad.
I mean, listen, if you're gonna teach him to do something, teach him to do it really, really well. Because after they made a friend. It's like, hey, like I made more money. Like that guy is like, I made more money with you following you on those shooters. So just tell me when you're at a dice game.
Oh yeah, and they didn't have to sell drugs, so everyone wins.
Yeah. There you go. They just had to know the numbers.
Yeah, no problem at
all. Then Michael's still having some trouble with his stepdad. He's now asking for the DSS card. He is trying to clearly take control of this household and clearly putting Michael on edge. We kind of just see it, in every aspect kind of going forward here. Of course, Randy does take the money over to Prez, and he is obviously not sure how to feel about how he made a bunch of money on a dice game. Like, made the money. I mean, I guess I guess okay. I mean,
they didn't do it paying attention to me in class.
Bunny and the teachers of the Corner Kids program, they give them a bit of a competition. Say, hey, gotta put you guys into 3 groups. Put together this little model of this thing here, and the winning team, gets a prize. Tell them like, you get to go to a dinner or whatever place you guys can agree on. So they do that. Naaman, Darnell, Zenobia win. So now they get to be taken to a nice steak restaurant. Michael considers calling social services on his parents, brings that up to Daquan and Randy. They make it pretty clear, yeah, you don't want to do that because they'll look into this. Like they'll probably send like your parents to jail, but they'll probably split you and bug up, and anything you can maybe try to go to the school. Like, no, you can't really go to the school. They bring up Cuddy. And of course, that also puts Michael kind of on edge, like, because he clearly doesn't trust Cuddy either. Just uses the phrase, he's too fucking friendly. Now, getting closer into kind of that part of the year for the teachers, they are starting to bring up teaching the state test. Kind of Prez kind of notices this game of like kind of juking the stats. They want us to kind of make things up, which does kind of remind me. I mean, I come from a whole family of teachers, very familiar with, kind of bringing up kind of this whole state testing business. Always a lot of tensions going on, toss, tax, whatever the fuck the new test of the year is. Carver hits Naaman's corner because, of course, Naaman doesn't run the tightest ship on his corner, so he goes in there, arrests him. He just jacks them up, though. Just gets rid of their drugs, doesn't arrest anybody. Kind of wants to give them a free pass here. Bunny takes those winning corner kids team to that nice restaurant. They are clearly uncomfortable. They don't really know how to act. They feel very much out of their element, very much noticed by Bunny. And of course, once they get in the car, they kind of back to their normal selves, kind of a look at how they kind of respond and something that they don't really recognize.
That was a tough scene to watch. I feel like it kind of made them feel like, I mean, we're kind of set in a place and we can't get out of it. We can't get out of where we are and be in a place like this. Society's kind of like just pigeonholed us, and there's nothing we can do about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is really just, it is always just a weird scene to watch, especially like from at least those three kids, especially Naaman, somebody who always puts on this facade of confidence, and you just kind of see him clam up when the waiter is reading them the specials of the day. Like it's always a very weird scene to watch.
Which he kind of surprised me, because I would have figured his mom probably would have taken him to a nice restaurant or something like that. She seems like she'd probably be going to places like, or maybe she's not taking him.
She's not taking him. He's too much of a bumper. Okay.
Don't you get a street corner to be working?
Then finally, finish quickly up. Carver catches up with Naaman and Cuddy Jim and said, "Hey, give me this one break. If I catch you out there again, your ass getting arrested." And then Michael, nowhere to turn, dealing with a stepdad problem, walks down that alley, visits Marlo. Says, "Hey, I need something that needs fixing." And of course, so where good old episode ends with Michael heading down to a place where, unfortunately, I think we kind of saw he was going down at some point. So that is know your place thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Michael left without any options. He ends up having to pretty much sell his soul to the devil there at the end.
Yeah, it's all she wrote. And I think the kids' storyline is getting better, especially with like that whole like I should call them like you can't do that because of everything. So even the kids that want to get themselves out of it can't. They have to just basically, and that just shows how they do a really good job of selling like the inner city of Baltimore and like how bad it is for everybody. Basically, they just don't. Even if they want to get out, they can't, and this is just the way of life. And yeah, it's crazy. Like we just go back a couple episodes or whatever when those kids were like warring against each other, basically throwing the piss balloons at each other.
Mm-hmm.
They still are like in this gang like lifestyle. They can't even have like a normal like growing up. Like the kids that don't want to do it have to do it, and the kids that do want to do it, go behind bars. So I think that storyline's very interesting. I just still think Perez is like one of the dumbest human beings possible. Like, of course that he got the money from Dice. You showed him a way to literally make money. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think one of the best. I mean, it's something that The Wire has always been very good at. They've always been good at building stories, and I think none of their stories. I think none of. Damn, excuse me, I got a burp. I don't think any of their stories have kind of they haven't really built up in kind of the way that they've snowballed like these corner kid stories. Like they have done such a great job of just slowly building to where like every one of them is eventually going to go, and how with all of them it's all just little decisions along the way that slowly put them on the path, and none of it is major. And I think like especially like with Randy, where all he did was just tell a teacher a couple things, and now like he's kind of in this weird deep shit of kind of being put as a snitch on the street, and like Naaman like just can't quite get away from kind of this like being this drug dealer. And then what I think is interesting about Michael is that I don't think Michael is the one guy that I think gets thrown the most assistance out of this, but he's just completely unreachable just by everything that has already happened to him. Like it's, and
he could have gone to Cuddy probably, and I think Cuddy might have helped, but because he's too friendly, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of what happened with Bug's dad when they first met, and that kind of led to, I'm sure, whatever sort of abuse happened there. So that's kind of pretty much scarred him to adults and things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, God damn it. Yeah, I mean, just I want to get to that later, especially what happens like coming up here in a little bit, but yeah, very much on the point, very much correct on that. But let's just finish shit up. We're going on to episode. Was it episode 10? Yeah, episode 10. Episode 10, Misgivings. Gonna start out very quickly on the police politics side of the story. Starts out with Clay Davison meeting up with Burrell. Burrell kind of telling him, listen, Tommy's kind of put me on the sideline. But Clay Davis very much eloquently puts, well, you're still commissioner, right? You're still the highest ranking guy. Just, do some cop shit. Kind of show Tommy that, he's got his commissioner right here already. And with that, Clay also meets with Tommy. Says, hey, like, you know what? I can also help you get this pay raise for the commissioner. Like, Clay Davis, like, just really, like, playing both sides of the aisle really well. Just, like, even though like they're kind of trying to like show like this light side of Carcetti, they definitely have just the scumbag politician part played in really well with this Clay Davis guy. Just a real proper asshole. Police, and then what ends up happening is that Burrell kind of issues kind of these directives of kind of doing these neighborhood policing, basically like kind of arresting people and ticketing people for a lot of petty shit. That order's been passed out on down, and we see that the mainstream police are kind of fed up with it. Like they don't understand what the fuck's going on. Kind of brought in by a good scene with the Western District saying the fucking election's over. Like what are we doing? Like locking up people for fucking like drinking a fucking 40 on the street.
Yeah, let's just fill our jail cells and like get more people in trouble with like this petty shit and get their cops in more of a hot water. Genius. Because they wanted to lower the crime rate, but now they're just going to piss them all off and make them more like go down for bigger crimes. Yeah, genius.
But they get the stats, so it's all good. Like, it looks like they're doing it.
You got to fill the quota.
Although, McNulty is doing his part. He's going in there. Fellow cop kind of notices a string of church burglaries, and McNulty shows he's still got it in him. Him and this cop go to kind of deduce like kind of the next church they're gonna hit, catch the guy. So so they get a couple of felony burglaries. So you know what, they're definitely on the good list. Kind of a very also very neat McNulty sighting, at least for this week. Daniels hears about these stats arrests. He's clearly not happy about it. Kind of confronts Carcetti about it. Listen, man, like, what the fuck is this? You kind of told me, like, we're going to have a new day on this. Like, I got to know if you're for real on it, which definitely kind of shows Carcetti that he's probably found the right guy to be his new commissioner as he hopefully moves him up the ranks. Clay is able to convince Nerese Campbell to kind of raise the salary a little bit. Gives him a 25,000 bump, kind of enough to kind of show Carcetti that hey, he's got something, but not enough to get a new hire. And him and Campbell and Burrell kind of cook that up because they make it pretty clear they do not want Daniels in the job. As Clay said, yeah, I worked on it a couple of years ago and he wouldn't listen to me. I'm like, yeah, I wonder why, you fucking asshole. He caught you with a big bag of drug money. Well, it's a wonder why he wouldn't listen to you. Going on to the streets, little Kevin comes back, tells Bodie, yeah, the cops got me over this murder thing. Doesn't quite want to tell him that it's over Lex's murder because clearly Bodie doesn't know about that. Bodie, though, tells Kevin, hey, you probably want to tell Marlo about this. Probably got to convince him that you weren't snitching. as you were out of pocket for a couple days. Just make sure he knows that he doesn't come looking for you. It'll probably be worse if he has to do that. Omar is out snooping on Marlowe. Realizes that Marlowe is that guy I robbed from that card game a while back. Probably makes sense why Prop Joe put me on that card game. But we're gonna try and kind of figure out exactly what the play is here. So he's following him around. Herc comes around to Bubbles, tries to make it up to him, brings him some food, phone, tells him, "Hey, puts the word out on this camera. If you can figure that out, give you this money, give you some money." Bubbles is like, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that. I just want you to help me like take down this guy. Like, I mean, look at me, man. I got fresh bruises on my face. Like, I don't know what to fucking do here." Kevin heads over to Marlowe, say, "Hey, cops jacked me up, but don't worry, I didn't tell him anything." Randy must have told him that I was the one who told Lex to go down the playground. Marlowe very eloquently puts, "Well, that was your job, so I don't know what you're talking to us about this shit." It's like, "Well, I just want to, kind of keep it away." It's like, "All right, yeah, you can get out of here." And of course, that wasn't good enough for him. They get little Kevin, stash him in a car, and so he's definitely going to end up dead, even though he, I guess, did the technical right thing. They decided to put the word out on the street that Randy is a snitch, so that is definitely something that will come to fruition later. We saw it come to fruition in a number of spots throughout this episode, unfortunately. Slim was there to see Kevin get put in that trunk. As Slim was there meeting with Marlowe, Omar makes note of that as he's kind of stalking Marlowe, and he starts following Slim. We finally go back to Herc because Herc is not really sure what to do. He's kind of there with Sidner and Dozerman trying to figure out what to do. Sidner just kind of tells him, like, "Listen, man, you just got to stop fucking lying about this shit. Just go in there, tell Marimo that, you got this off a fake CI. This camera's lost. He may, take you off being a sergeant, but, at least, he's, not going to get you fucking fired for this because you wait any longer, that's definitely going to come down the pike." Herc decides, "You know what, I'm going to tell Marimo about this shit." But Marimo does kind of let slip, like, "Listen, you've been kind of fucking up a lot lately. You haven't brought me a case. If you bring me a case, though, I may be able to make some of this shit slide." So Herc is back on trying to make the case. However, while he's in the meeting, gets another call from Bubbles. And of course, Herc stiffs Bubbles once again. So Bubbles once again is there left holding his dick in his hand as this doping guy robs him once again. So that Slim also after that Slim tells Bodie about little Kevin. Definitely something that gets Bodie all up into a tizzy, especially since he's the one who told him to go tell Marlowe about this. Ends up getting him killed. Then, of course, now Bubbles, fed up with Herc and his bullshit, calls him, say, "Hey, I saw Marlowe getting a package. License plate is whatever, niner. Turns out to be a license plate for a reverend. And Herc, the dumbest guy in the world, cannot deduce that the guy he's arresting is not a fucking drunk runner, but instead a leader of the community. And now Herc has assaulted a respected member of the community, and now Herc is in deep shit."
Don't fuck with Bubbles.
Finishing off with School of Corner Kids for this one. We get actually starting off with the cold open. See Donut riding around in his car. He passes that one asshole cop. He gets into a little bit of a chase with him, crashes into some cars. Cop crashes into another lady's car. He gets upset, ends up tracking down that kid. And, he's like, "Fuck you, kid. You're going to make me do a lot of paperwork. So, I'm going to break some of your fingers to get a bit of retribution on this shit." So This season 4 of The Wire, we have no shortage of just regular scumbags here.
On all sides of everything.
Bunny and the other teachers are told they gotta start teaching the test. Even though they've been told that their program gets be left alone, not really going to be the case, and they also kind of have to plead their case again. Times being where they got to be reevaluated. So now they got to go to that new administrator. I don't know her name. She pops up. She looks like the city council president, but it's not her. They got to try to convince her again that this program needs to stay. Carver catches Naaman again. He arrests him. Gives him a chance, because it's his first arrest. So, hey, you can raise a parent, guardian, or adult or something. I can let you go. Not, I got to book you. Naaman doesn't want to go to this booking place because in the east side and some bad shit's happened to west side guys over in this east side place. Carver takes it easy on him. Like, you know what? I'll give you the night. If you can, just sit here, do nothing. But at the end of that, you got to raise somebody, or else I got to process you by the morning. Of course, night comes, nothing comes of it. Still can't raise anybody. And then good old Naaman's like, you know what though? I got a teacher. Maybe you can call that guy. And he's like, hey, who is it? It's the guy, Mr. Colvin. So he used to be police. Like, I think I know that guy. So with that, what's it? Oh yeah, Michael gives Chris and Snoop the lowdown on stepdad, and there are some people that are good at reading between the lines. Chris is able to very quickly deduce, oh yeah, this is exactly what is going on here. Okay, yeah, don't worry about this, Michael. Me and Snoop, we got this. We'll take care of this problem for you. Bunny and Parenti have to get into with this administrator. Say, hey, no, we're not really teaching these kids anything, but we gotta teach them how to be socialized in kind of this new environment. If they're not socialized, they're not going to be good students or good for really anything. What? Maybe kind of sit in on what we're doing. Maybe it'll change your mind. Of course. They sit in on one of those bad days, fight breaks out, and they're talking about it later in the office, and everybody seems a little bit not so optimistic about their program. Saying, you know what, probably at best 3 of these kids probably see them being in the classroom later on, and although Bunny points out, better than we were before, definitely making more progress, getting into more people this way, so might as well just try to keep this shit going. But definitely, even though we're seeing a little bit of strides, the machine is definitely starting to buck back at this program here. Naaman, Bunny does also agree to take in Naaman for the day. Has kind of a nice evening with Bunny and his wife, kind of letting him stay at his house. He does take him home the next morning, gives him the lowdown, and Naaman's mom just does the bitchiest bitchy bitch things that somebody could do, telling Bunny very sternly, "Stay the fuck away from my son," and then tells her son, "You too much of a bitch to go to baby booking. Get in the motherfucking house." Not happy that her son could not go into a juvenile detention center. And it didn't end off.
This mom would end up on Dr. Phil.
She's the fucking worst. Like I said, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
She's the worst.
No, I agree.
She is the worst parent we have talked about in this span. She is fucking awful.
Of this season, she's real bad. She's real bad. That cop is up there. Breaking kids' fingers and just being a douche to be a douche. But, man, ruining that kid's life.
No. A lot of bad guys here. A lot of
bad guys.
So, about to have one less bad guy, though.
Yeah.
Michael's mom is noticing, hey, the stepdad, he's not around anymore. And then Michael is like, maybe, I don't think you should expect him. Probably not coming back. Of course, he's heading over to the corner store. We see Snoop and Chris waiting for him. They start walking him down an alley. Chris gets into a small conversation trying to deduce whether or not this guy may be a bit of an abuser. Definitely says the wrong things to him. And Chris goes on to beat the ever-living fuck out of him.
His wrist is broken. There's just no way. You can't hit a skull that many times and not have a broken something. Like,
I mean, I think he was using the gun for the force. Like, just constantly.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean,
so the bash on that guy's head was way better than Brawl in Cell Block 99 when that terrible mannequin had. Whatever they did in this one, that looked real. That one looked fake as fuck. I don't know what they did, but I was like, God damn, stop. He gone. He's been gone.
Oh, yeah. And it's crazy, too. Chris, pretty much the whole time he's been on, he's just cool, calm, cool as ice. And this is like the first time he like actually shows him. He's working through some shit on this guy. You tell he pretty much clocked with Michael what was going on. So
and of all the people, you're kind of like, I get it, but like, it's a little overkill. Like, I don't know.
I mean, this is the one case, where we do excuse Chris for being complete sociopath. I think especially like in these run of 3 episodes. Like, I do really appreciate just the characters of Chris and Soup, where like these guys are like complete psychopaths, but they are portrayed as like realistic psychopaths. Like they're guys like I feel like I could walk up to on the street and like not know that, oh, these guys are just cold-blooded killers.
Yeah, the actress that plays Snoop she actually did go to prison for murder in real life. So a lot of her isn't really acting, I don't think.
Yeah, I do want to just go back to something real quick, and then we'll probably just kind of going off what Matt had said earlier about kind of stuff with Michael, because I think a thing that I really appreciate going on this time is that it kind of highlights, I think, one of the Wire's best things of not really holding your hand here, where they never tell us, the audience, exactly what happened with Michael. There's never like any type of like moment where we're looking at a police file of like anything suspected going on. They kind of just tell us like very quietly in a bunch of parts, this is probably what happened to Michael. This is what his problem with his stepdad is, and this is why like he's protective of his little brother for all these things. And also how like just how he is with pretty much every male figure he comes across. How like that one instance has kind of damaged him from really trusting any adult figure in his whole, like for pretty much the rest of his life. How like just profoundly damaged he is as a person, like already at the age of like 13. All right, thank you for that. But yeah, that was the end of Misgivings thing. Yeah, we I thought I did a better job. I thought I did a better job holding us back. Really didn't. Really did not.
Yeah. Well, we talked at the beginning 4 minutes. You're about an hour. You shaved 10 minutes off. Hey. And but you talked about 4 episodes the last time, and you only talked about 3. So that's a bad average. But you know what? You're working on it. You know, you did a good job.
And to be fair, I mean, Cody's got to talk about Breaking Bad, a show with like 7 characters in it. So
that is true. Mine is very streamlined because I have one through line character and I have 5 people that interact with that character. So you did good. And then, you two have the most people to talk about. And when you're passionate about the show, it does go along. I always look like I really love Breaking Bad, but when my stuff happens, very minimal. Like I can streamline mine real quick. So, but a lot happens. All right. We're time to talk about Jesus, Luke Perry. Are we getting there? So we all have some thoughts, right? We have some thoughts.
Let's step back into the wonderful world of Emerald City.
Well, before you go, we can just admit that they came back and said, let's run some same plays that we ran in previous seasons, right? Like over this conversation, Keller, Nino's son comes back. Like there's these characters that interact with, like, that we haven't seen in like forever. We need something because clearly they know that we knew that it was terrible. So I
They're
love
like
that they played
20 years from now, there's going to be a bunch of guys on a show talking about how we fucked up season 4. We got to course correct.
Course correct, right? Fuck yeah. All right, take us through these first 3 episodes.
All right, so we are finally in season 5, episode 1. So they have rebuilt Oz after the explosion at the end of the last season. So yay!
I'm already cutting you off. They walk into M City and look around like it just this miraculous. It looks the fucking same. What are you talking about? They're like, I want that one. I want that. Shut the fuck up, you douchebags! Like there is nothing changed in this entire thing. And I was just like, they're really gonna gaslight us right now. Just say, oh look at this, it's new. Ain't new. This is the same bullshit we've just seen.
But I am jumping ahead a little bit because I believe the episode actually opens with a sleepy truck driver running a bus off of the road and flipping it a few times. But I'm sure we may. I thought maybe it could be a new prisoner coming in, maybe the truck driver or something. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find more about that as we go on.
Oh.
But by the
to take every tension out of the show, to take any like mystery or anything, they decided to shoot their shot in the first minute. That could have been intrigue. We could have had some interaction. Nope, because you know what? I'm going to spoil it. About 5 minutes later, they show us the bus of the people that already drove. That's the last clip they put at the beginning. My anger level for this show has just keeps climbing.
But yeah, I mean, as Cody said, it is visiting day in the prison, and we see a lot of family members loading onto a bus that it looks similar to the bus at the beginning. I mean, I don't know if it's the same bus or not. I guess we'll find out. But yeah,
and they've done visits. How many times have they loaded every fucking person on a bus? Never.
And they were driving for like the whole episode too. So how far away they loaded people up to come to this prison?
They were 30 minutes out.
I guess there's no like parking at the prison or something like that.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so back inside Oz, Timmy Kirk is now preaching, so we have that to look forward to. But holy shit, Luke Perry survived. Last time we saw him, he was walled up in a wall. But thanks to the explosion, they found his burned up body, really bad burned up body. But he's doing okay.
That's where the budget went this season.
But yeah, we're gonna cut back to that bus again. Morales' sister is there on the bus. She's flirting with Father Ray. She's gonna be visiting her brother, asking him to hurt her husband because he was assaulting her. So more with that later. Alvarez is still alive in solitaire, but all the solitaire prisoners are being let out because they have to work on the air ducts, which means when our friend Mr. White, since we can no longer call him Omar, he just can't keep his mouth shut. Chico comes after Alvarez in the shower pretty much immediately, and all he gets for his trouble is a cheap shot and a trip to the cage. Alvarez exchanges threats with Morales and then starts a fight with Giles, the other older guy who was on death row, and he proceeds to beat up Alvarez because, I mean, Alvarez kind of sucks.
Yeah, Alvarez is out for 4 minutes and gets in a fight in 2 fights in an instant. Shocking, everybody. Wow. Because this character has no emotional arc whatsoever. He's just fist at this point.
But don't forget about his dead baby. Remember, he cut his face.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh, jeez.
White and McManus have a talk. White said he was hurt that McManus didn't mention that he was going to be on a game show. White ends up getting in a fight, and he takes Chico's place in the cage. We do get some news that the test results came back, and that Hank was in fact Jules' father. So Vern is very happy about that. That's his little grandbaby.
Enjoy your 25 years in prison that you're not going to see this child.
Robeson and Vern are recovering, and Saeed is released from the hole. And they pretty much, he is getting 2 attempted murder charges added to his record. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Oh, hey, Officer Howell is back. I guess when she broke her, was it pelvis last time? I guess that's all healed up. Good for her.
Who cares?
Yeah, what the fuck? What are we doing? Also, you know how I've said this has a dick quota? This episode just tried to like vault to the highest dick quota ever with just that whole just Emerald City just full of dicks behind fucking
Hill.
What's his name? Hill the entire time. And every time they get a chance, just rip a towel off. Like, you know what the people come for this movie, this show? For the penis. Let's just give as much dicks as we possibly can in an episode. I was just like, what the fuck?
But like, we need a bunch of extras to just walk around naked for a day.
Yeah, I can imagine that audition call. Like, hey, you got a flaccid dick? Please bring it to Emerald City. We need you for 5 minutes.
Could you imagine the casting director that had to hire for that day?
Oh, gosh. Can't be too big, can't be too small. We'll talk about it.
So Mr. Pete, she comes up with the bright idea to hold a meeting with Beecher, Vern, and Saeed. And Beecher actually does it. He gives a good little talk to everybody. But then they cut away from that. Hill gets a letter from a lawyer that his wife is divorcing him, which we find out this is why his mother was coming to visit him. Hill invites Redding to visit his mother with him.
Isn't he in prison without the possibility of parole? I think that's how long he was sentenced for.
I believe, didn't he have like one parole thing already and it didn't go through? But yeah, I think he's pretty much in prison for a long time.
I think it was like they're trying to get his case overturned.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're trying to get it overturned.
But I don't believe that he was. I'll look it up. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think he's pretty much is in for a long time, if not forever.
I mean, he shot a cop, so I mean.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Ryan is trying to keep Henry away from Cyril. We have Arif talks to Leo about the shamrock necklace that Ryan took off of the man he killed. Dr. Nathan pretty much got through all of the legal mumbo jumbo stuff about her maybe losing her job last season. That's all gone now. She tells Leo that she threw the necklace away. Ryan pays another prisoner to say that Henry killed Keenan, which, of course, Leo falls for this very easily and suspends the investigation.
You want to talk about bullshit. They think we're the dumbest motherfuckers walking. This guy's been in here for 3 years, and we're just now seeing him now. No, motherfucker. I wouldn't recognize this motherfucker from a mile away. And, you didn't talk to me for 3 years. Yeah, no one has, because no one even knows who you are, dude.
Well, he might just transfer from one of those other cell blocks.
Hill's up for he would be up for parole in 20 years. So, yeah, he's basically in there for most of his life.
Okay, not too bad, yeah. So let's see. We cut back to the sleepy truck driver forcing the bus to roll off the road. Father Pete and Vern's granddaughter survived the wreck. Arif's wife, Hill's mother, Morales' sister, and Vern's daughter-in-law do not. I counted at least 10 people died in the accident. Yeah, and like I said, that's like the worst decision that they actually spoiled it right at the very beginning of the episode.
Oh, and then why can't they? Why did we have to have this music play? And like him not be able to announce the people, you just see it like Mal. Like It's
Yeah,
such
I
a
put the
weird,
subtitles on, and that way I could get the names and stuff. Yeah.
it was such a weird creative choice. Like, oh, we've never seen these characters go through hardship that we can't hear their names being like read while this music plays. And like, yeah, all these, and the baby survived. Like the baby's in critical condition, but the also, I don't know if you all watched it. I don't even know if they know how Rex really work. Yes, I know they're not all seated down, but that motherfucker rolled one time at approximately like 20 miles per hour. Like they're in the hospital. All those people deceased if the bus landed on them, maybe, but
Well, I mean,
not
the
just
buses don't have seat belts. That means
stop.
they flipped over and they all fell and
Jesus
broke their
Christ.
heads.
That means every football player's dead from an impact. Like, this is just crazy. What are we talking? When they listed death after death, I'm like, okay. Everybody in Oz gets stabbed, and they're like, whatever. But, and they don't, do we all know that after this, like, you know the biggest problem with all these people dying? The touch on in episode 2 and 3 are, I don't remember like a big storyline coming from it and like anything impactful. Why do it?
I mean, a couple of the prisoners mention it, and they grow a little closer and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's not real like.
There's nothing really like intriguing about it. Like
Yeah.
it's such a dumb.
Like maybe if Father Ray would have died or something, maybe you could have got something out
No,
of
of course that motherfucker was coming out of it. Everybody knew that one. I was like, oh, these characters we barely know or don't know at all, they're all dead. We are saving budget this season because Luke Perry's face is all carved up. So we're going to kill all these people first episode. And, well, Father Ray merges bloody as all get out.
Yeah, that's the first episode of the season. What did you think, Mark?
Yeah, this episode should be used like in screenwriting school. This is how you don't tell a story. I mean, like I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to show the bus crash in the first 5 minutes. Like, I mean, we're not morons. Like we see the bus crash and then we see this. Like, I mean, why they think like, oh, like it would only matter if like a bunch of important characters were on that bus, like characters who are on the show, and we're thinking, holy shit, who's gonna die? But no, it's BD Wong and a bunch of people that we've seen that we've never seen before, or we've seen a few times, like Schiller's daughter-in-law, and like that's it. Like, so we're kind of
don't have an emotional,
like, of course, like they're probably all gonna die. Like, this is stupid. Like, what are you like? I'm just imagining a much better scene where like, oh, we cut to like 50 minutes in, and then they do like the normal black and white kind of killing thing is, and we see like the truck driver lose control, and then we see like the bus do the flips, and then whenever we see the bus flips, it fades into color, and we realize, oh, that's the prisoners. But like that would have been a much better way to do it. Like, and it's not
this
even
would
that
be
far.
This would be the same thing as that the episode of Breaking Bad started with her father reading out the commands and the plane crashing, and then us going back to the start of that whole season. And then at the end, it's like the plane crashes. Of course the plane crashed. Like, you just told me exactly what was going to happen at the very beginning. No, they put a bear here and they did this. You're right. If it wasn't for Oz, Vince Gilligan would have literally just let that plane hit Walt's house instantly. But the difference is he let it build. It's great. It was as soon as it happened, I literally was sitting there. I was like, well, all these fuckers are dead, and they're all the family members from Oz. And then the moment happens, and they're all loading on the bus. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And they end the episode with the exact same. I was like,
I mean,
I think one of the writers probably saw Memento that summer, and he came back to the writers' room and was like, I have a great idea for the season premiere.
You're probably not wrong at all.
I mean, in all honesty, like I don't hate this episode. I think it's fine. I don't think it's nearly. Yeah. It's not nearly as bad as what we've been seeing for Oz, but this was clearly your most interesting thing that's going to happen at this episode, and you just kind of blew it in the first 10 minutes. Like I don't know. Like I mean,
it's just lazy. It's like we have all these characters, we got to write them off. How are we going to write them off? This. But they could have done the exact same thing of everybody loading the bus and wrecking right at the end and not knowing, but we still assume they all die. Like, why are they showing us the bus? Because you know why? They never fucking showed us the bus once before. Like,
or they could have just saved money by not even showing the crash and just have Leo walk into all the prisoners in the visiting room waiting and be like, "Oh, so the bus crashed. All you people are dead."
you know what I would have been better off? At the end, the bus pulls up and they find that bomb that guy created in the last episode, just tosses it and be like, this thing doesn't work, and it blows the fucking bus up at the very end. Like, that would have been like mint. Like, oh, it didn't work till this point. That would have been, let's go.
I feel like if Hot Fuzz had come out 7 years earlier, that's probably what would happen in this episode.
Yeah.
Or the mole had dug a tunnel and it created a sinkhole and the bus crashed into it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's move on to episode 2 here. So we start out with Alvarez and Chico are still going at it. After a talk with Riverdale, Alvarez comes with a plan to let Chico shank him, but not kill him. So that's interesting. Riverdale is also having a bad day. We find out that his grandson is sick again and needs a bone marrow transplant. Ryan's mom comes back to Oz to teach singing. So we get to see Cyril go and work with that, and then Ryan also recruits some other pupils for her before he tries to get her to quit because he realized she really shouldn't be in the prison.
Okay, stop. So you've touched on the Alvarez stabbing thing, right?
Yeah.
How many fucking sharp objects need to enter this motherfucker's body until he dies? Also, do they know where the heart is located on the human body? The motherfucker gets stabbed, like, this side, anywhere else, like, he gets stabbed, like, directly above where the heart would be located. If I
think Chico was like, I'm going to stab him here. Maybe I get lucky and he dies. If not, hey, I went with the plan.
Of course he lives. He's never going to die. Like, it is crazy. And then, you know what everybody was begging for in season 4? More of this O'Reilly mom storyline than any of us gave a fuck about. And then we have to sit there and listen to them sing? You want to talk about cruel and unusual punishment? Holy shit. Like, what are we doing? And guess what, Rebadal? Oh, somebody's sick again? You remember when it was so shocking that the entire Oz group came together and gave you fucking money for God knows what fucking reason? Why don't you go just ask your friends again? They all had a ton of cash on them last time. Let's see if you can get
I feel
more
like the prisoners will be like, we gave you money that one time. It's not our fault your grandson got sick again.
And no one believed it the first time, and now they're just going, what? So dumb. Continue, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, Dave Brass is also back, and he wants justice for his poor Achilles tendon. McManus kind of tells him it was partially his fault too, which kind of a dick move, but
You think?
Oh, McManus taking blame for something crazy.
The governor brings in someone to help kind of communicate between the prison and the governor's office. Eleanor O'Connor is going to be acting as the liaison, and Murphy pretty much calls out McManus for his behavior, something we've noted. That he pretty much tries to sleep with women on the female staff, so he asks him not to fuck her. So, but McManus says, "Oh no, it's not a problem. I already did. She's my ex-wife." So that's just what we need in the prison. McManus and Brass talked about suing the state, but I'm gonna be honest with you at this point. Pretty much anytime McManus is on the screen, my eyes kind of just glaze over. So notes involving him aren't going to be great. Carrie's parents are going to be taking Vern's granddaughter home with them, so Vern's probably never going to see his granddaughter again. So the child has a chance to be a good person now. And as Cody mentioned earlier, Peter Shabeta is back in Oz. He finally got released from, I guess, the mental institution he was in while he was recovering from his past experiences in the prison. The person that Pancamo hired to kill Hank Schillinger on Beecher's behalf has been caught and is talking to the FBI.
Oh, and
Vern.
after 4 seasons, we finally get to learn why Picamo is like in the fucking, why he's in jail. Like, we finally get his backstory. Like, well, you just been sitting on this one. We had a lot of time in season 4 that we could have talked about him, but like, nope. Let's get Chucky. Let's see why Chucky's in here. And why did it take 3 seasons to get your asshole like rehabilitated? Like, holy hell!
I think that was more the mental thing he was getting worked.
His mental isn't any better. Like, what are we talking about?
Also, side note: was I the only one kind of thrown that it's only been 6 months since Beecher asked like Pancamo to kill like Stoner's son?
My ass, 6 months. What the fuck are we talking about? It's been 12 years.
Yeah, I feel like it happened forever ago. Like,
are you telling me from that time and Keller leaving has been 6 months? Well, holy hell, I've been in hell for 6 months.
But yeah, so Vern and the other Aryans attack Pancamo, and there's a big gym fight that breaks out. The guards come and break it all up. But this also means that now that Keller is pretty much cleared from this, he's going to be coming back to Oz.
Thank fucking
God. Saeed kicks a guy out of their group for eating during prayers. McManus decides to assign Saeed to help sponsor White because he's tired of White annoying him, so he's going to pass him off to Saeed. And White pretty much already annoys Saeed within 2 seconds.
I hope Saeed's murder streak continues.
But yeah, he promises Saeed that he's not going to fight anymore. Then we have Father Ray visits with Luke Perry and gets to see the state that he's in. Timmy Kirk tells Father Ray that he wants to be included in the memorial service for the bus victims. Kirk also tries to get Jim to kill Luke Perry before he can recover enough to the point where he can talk and say that they were involved in balling him up there. Luke Perry visits Jim in his sleep. Is a nice little vision of a perfectly fine Luke Perry, angelic almost. And he tells him to kill Hoyt and Kirk instead. So Jim attacks them, but Hoyt breaks his neck. And Luke Perry then visits Hoyt in solitary to end the episode.
So I think you missed one part. Hold on. I think you missed one part. Before we will talk about Luke Perry. Did you talk about O'Reilly talking to the other guy and getting him to kill the guy in the gym?
We talked about him getting the one guy to say that the one guy killed the one guy.
Yeah, but in episode 2, he basically is O'Reilly. That guy comes up to him in season 2, episode 2, and goes, "The prices went up. Like, you're gonna have to keep doing this." So he ends up telling the one guy that O'Reilly basically blames the one guy that he did it. He ends up getting him to kill the other guy with the pin in the neck in the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a bullshit thing. Like, he's, "I'm gonna kill that motherfucker." Like 6 cops are around that situation. They all let him run past that point, get all the way to the library, and stab the dude in the neck in the thing. And like it's just such bad storytelling. Like, hey, I'm gonna blame this one guy, and then the guy that I'm blaming, I'm gonna get him to kill the guy that I just got to bail me out. Like, it's just this web, and we don't care about either character. They make us do this, and then holy fuck, Luke Perry doesn't get burned and become Jesus. Like, it does. What?
Well, I think that like if we're paying Luke Perry, we want to get those boyish Luke Perry looks.
Then you should have put him behind a wall. Blew him up. For Hoyt to be like scared of him in the jail was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And like, he shows up and like, yeah. And then also one of the coolest deaths where that dude just puts the bar, but like the bench or like weight around and snaps his neck. That's sweet. But then all of a sudden he shows up in solitaire, like in the hole, and like, oh, what are we doing?
I mean, he now has godly powers. I mean, he's
He should have used those godly powers to get the fuck out of the wall. What are we doing? Because I
he got
rewatched
his
that
powers
episode. I rewatched that scene when he gets put in there. He's not. They don't show a chain, but he pushes his head like against where the brick just went in, and he just doesn't stop. He stops right there, but doesn't push any further. If he pushes any further, that thing comes right out. It's just so dumb. Mark, how did you love Luke? Did you love Jesus?
Okay, me and Cody hosted a debate a couple days ago, and we got to talking a little bit about Oz, and I'll stand by. I honestly, as a whole, don't really hate these episodes. They're not. I don't think they're nearly as bad as what we've been seeing from Oz.
It's definitely better. Yeah.
Not really riding the ship, but kinda. But
it's like season 3.
God, yeah. But my God, did we enter into maybe one of the dumbest storylines I think I've ever seen in a TV show? It's at least the dumbest storyline Oz has ever done. Like, what the
age pills or this?
Yeah, I think it's this by a mile.
Okay.
Especially to where this goes in the next episode. Like, it's just I guess
that's true. You're right. You're right.
What are we doing here? Like, what is happening? Like, I don't.
They think that we took all the heroin. Like, we took the heroin. Now we're all high, and we're going with it. We're on the tips.
It doesn't even make any sense either, especially since everything else in the show is somewhat rooted in reality. Like, not fully, but at least somewhat. And then we have, like, out of nowhere to, like, fucking Luke Perry's a fucking angel. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's just so weird. Like, it's like the fucking writers of Oz just gave up. Like, we want to keep Luke Perry in the show, but like we also don't know how. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, it's just
It's kind of like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, right? So J.J. Abrams wrote the first 8 episodes of season 4. Rian Johnson came up and goes, fuck that shit. We're going to do something completely different, and wrote something different. And then we gave it back to JJ, and he's like, oh, we got to retcon this shit, because that's not what I wrote. This is what it feels like. It feels like...
Yada, 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 you Claire's an angel.
Yeah, like, well, I want Luke Perry in the show. I want him to be this gang leader, like, of the Christian thing, and they end up putting him behind a wall and killing him because he wouldn't accept a blowjob. So what we're going to do? Retcon that shit. He's now Jesus. What? He's Gabriel just dropping down from the heavens to talk to people? I'm out. I'm so out.
I've never wanted Mike to be around more. Like, somebody has to talk this up. Somebody has to give me a reason why this is good. I'm not seeing it. And I think we're all in agreement here that no.
No, I can do Mike right now. Because Luke Perry's fucking Jesus. It's cool. It's awesome. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm sure they'll figure it out in the next episode here.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Dream
a little dream for me.
Dream a little dream for me. So Leo sends Alvarez back to M City. He's recovered from his stabbing, which I think they said like a 1/4 inch to over there, and it would have been his heart. He would have died. So he's very lucky. He talks to Chico and Morales. So Morales says it's all settled now between them. But one of the other guys comes up to Alvarez and asks him to shank him so that he can join his cause. Alvarez instead suggests that he kill Chico for him. So we'll see what comes out of that. Officer Brass asks Morales who cut his Achilles tendon. And, of course, Morales is going to play dumb on that. Go back to Ribadao, who finds out he needs more money to help his grandson. And God comes to him and gives him the winning lottery numbers, so he thinks. And he asks Brass to buy a ticket for him. So we'll check in with that later.
Can't wait.
Kenman returns to Oz, has a meeting with the O'Reillys, and makes peace with Cyril. And then we see that Li Chen has joined him in his cell, and they are starting to plot against the O'Reillys. They join Ryan's mother's music class, as you do when you're in jail. Redding has a sit down with Morales because he thinks that with the Aryans and the Italians at war with each other, it could be an opportunity for them to join forces and kind of take the drug trade back. Shabeta, little Peter, he talks with Saeed about the Muslims supporting the Italians against the Aryans. Saeed pretty much calls him Adebisi's bitch. Then Shabeta decides to attack Vern and a couple other Aryans on his own, and he gets raped for his trouble. So he's back in the hospital ward, so hopefully we're done with him. The prisoner that saved Leo approaches him about a job in his office, and Leo pretty much tells him to stay out of his sight because he reminds him of Crazy Carver. The governor announces that the death penalty is back on the menu, but the only options are lethal injection or the electric chairs, and there's no more trying to work that system. Keller does come back to Oz, however, he is put in protective custody because the FBI is questioning him on some other things. He asks Sister Pete to arrange a visit with Beecher, but Leo refuses. Beecher instead has a visit with his daughter and the lawyer who tried to get him out, so they're still talking. Robeson tries provoking Saeed. Beecher, Vern, and Saeed have another meeting together where they talk about a few things. Saeed forbids White from talking to Poet because he's worried about him getting drugs from Poet and just doing some bad stuff, which like immediately later Saeed catches him buying drugs from Poet. McManus pretty much basically just tells Saeed that you're on your own with White. I have nothing that I can do to help you with that situation. Which Saeed, after talking to White, discovers that he likes singing. So he enrolls him in Ryan's mom's singing lessons, which White pretty much messes up immediately. He kind of ruins that situation. And then we get back to our Luke Perry story. Timmy Kirk is still trying to get someone to kill Luke Perry in the hospital ward there before he can talk. He gets one guy who tries to kill him, but Dr. Nathan gets there in time to save him. Hoyt then tells Kirk that he saw Luke Perry while he was in the hole. He sees him again in his cell, and Luke Perry tells him that he needs to kill Kirk. Hoyt stabs Kirk with the cross thing, stabs him right there in the little church area. And then we cut to back over to the hospital ward where Luke Perry's body has vanished without a trace from the infirmary. Will bring us to an end to this episode.
No. Like, why do we skip old Dr. Nathan trying to get the hots for burned up Luke Perry? Like, she kisses him in this episode, right? Like, I didn't imagine that. That happened, right?
I think that was more of the. I don't even know anymore. Yeah, so I feel like not really a whole lot really happened in this episode. I mean, a lot happened, but I don't feel like anything really important happened.
I mean, yeah, like, I mean, what are we? What is this shit? I mean, like, like, I mean, listen, I'm like, I know it just talked about it, like, but what are we doing here? What is the end game with this Luke Perry stuff? Like, what is it? Like, I'm genuinely curious, but like, what is he now, like some like killing demon or something? Is he like now going to like make other people, like, is the season going to end like with us trying to stop the killer angel that is Luke Perry now? Like
there's just like a zombified burn victim, Luke Perry, just hobbling down the hallway somewhere.
Like, is it gonna turn into like some bad horror movie? Like, what is happening? And like I know Oz. We've been down this road before. Oz is gonna find some stupid story, some stupid way to end the story, and like take all the tension out of it. Like even though, though I think it's shitty, it's still something. It's still some. It's still like some interesting thing to throw in here. Like I know Oz is gonna find a way to fuck this up. They're gonna find some dumb way to end this story.
The motherfucker says gets stabbed. Well, Hoyt has a vision of Luke sitting there talking to him. The police walk up to it to make us seem like we're absolutely stupid and crazy. They shine a light. He's not there, of course.
Which Luke Perry even says that I'm just pretty much your guilty conscience. I'm not really an angel or anything like that.
Hoyt goes and stabs him in the chest, or stomach. He looks up and says Jesus. As soon as he says Jesus, Luke Perry sits up like the Undertaker in his bed. And then Hoyt confesses to all the murders of like everything and basically admits to everything. Like, what, he just needed to hear his enemies say Jesus, and now he's resurrected. He's back. Like this is Oz could do two things. One, bring Luke fully back, which would be crazy. Or two, treat him like this spiritual being for the rest of the time. Or three, next episode starts, we don't talk about him at all.
That sounds like the Oz move right there.
All three could be legit reasons. Like, we just don't say it at all anymore. Like, what? He was here.
Like, what happened to the burn page guy? Well, who? What?
What? What are you talking about? And, like, people get choked out and stuff like this, and, like, they're dead instantly. And Luke Perry's had a pillow on his face for literally, like, 5 minutes and just still alive. No issues. Okay, cool.
I mean, he's probably got a hole like somewhere in his lungs he's breathing out of anyway. So.
Matt, your defense for strangulation is out of insane. But yes, I'm with Mark. Like, this is not as egregious. Well, this episode I think was just as bad as season 4. Of the end of season 4. I don't. There's no Beecher. There's no like interesting characters. They literally brought a character back just to rape him again.
Yeah, what was that about? Like,
I thought that was kind of funny.
we're gonna bring we have a plan for this. Like, there must be a reason why we're bringing this guy back, and like we just do the same shit with him again. Like, what are we doing? Like, why bother?
I can't wait till he comes back for season 3 and like season 6 and Saeed hits him. Like, I don't know what we're doing. I think it's crazy.
No, it's gonna be McManus the next time.
Right? Yeah. The Warden just says, "Come over here, boy." Like, what the crap?
Like, the weird thing is, like, I don't think like some of the is because, for instance, like I honestly don't hate what we're doing with Alvarez. I think at least like we're at least trying to do something of his character. Although I was kind of taken aback slightly when I realized, like, wait, they're like Alvarez and White are kind of the same character at this point. Like, they're kind of telling the exact same story with both of them right now. They're both guys like who are armies of one. They pissed off everybody around them, and they're trying to find like one last chance. Like, they have the exact same fucking story. And it's like, well, I guess, and for whatever reason, like they just don't want to kill them off. Like, they don't want to kill anybody off. Like, so we just kind of like, just, even though, again, I don't think it's as bad. Like, it's still I think we still are just egregiously just cycling through the same shit we had been for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe it'll get better.
Well, probably not.
All right. Let's talk about a good show.
Almost.
Okay. On to Breaking Bad. Basically, recap from last week. Gus is dead. They torched the lab. And now we're starting with season 5. Episode 1, Live Free or Die. Opens up kind of a weird shot that we haven't seen as Walt with hair, beard, glasses, eating breakfast at a place, celebrating his 52nd birthday. He's in a conversation with the waitress, basically talks about it, where she's like, New Hampshire. He's got a New Hampshire license, different name. Like, some time has changed, is what we're seeing. A guy walks into the restaurant. He like looking over his shoulder, trying to figure stuff out. It goes to the thing. It's a guy he's buying something from, back of a Volvo, basically a giant gun. He has bought a giant gun. I thought it was funny too. He's like sitting there. He's like, a free breakfast. I don't care if I was the richest man in the world. I'd take a free breakfast, and like still throws him his license to prove it. Then we cut back to present day. Skylar and Walt's conversation on the film. Basically, Gus, the whole DEA, didn't see it coming, and he's like, "That's right, we're safe. I won." Crazy still, that entire thing. So he comes home. He's cleaned up for all the bomb stuff. Walt Jr. and Skylar come home. Basically, Walt Jr.'s like talking about, "Oh my God, did you see Gus Fring? Like he's the big head pin of all this stuff. Like he did it all. Like it's crazy." You got to watch the news. He goes and talks to Skylar. Skylar is not copacetic with everything that's happened. She's pretty shaken up about everything that is involved. Basically doesn't show him like any like emotion. She's pretty much shell of herself. Walt not understanding, like, what the fuck? Like, I just did all this for our family. Look at me. Hank is recovered enough where he's got in the hazmat suit. They're in the lab. They're underneath the laundromat, looking at the lab. It's kind of also weird because like they do such a good job of keeping the lab intact of exactly what it was, but like we get to see it now as a complete shell of what it is, like a burn of everything. And they're walking through, like checking everything. Is whoever did this did it right? Like they knew exactly what they were doing, burning it all. I do laugh at one part where they like look up and they're like, "What do you think that is?" I don't know, camera. And they're like, "Huh." So just curiosity. They're trying to find something. They end up figuring out the two guys were killed, and they're like, "Where are they killed at?" By the elevator. Do we have anything on them? Nope. It got hot enough the teeth popped like like popcorn, which is crazy talk. We go back to Mike feeding chickens. The doctor comes up to him and says it was Gustavo. He's gone. Mike wastes zero time, gets in that car and starts driving back. And while driving, plays chicken with another car. It is Walt and Jesse. Walt gets out of the car, and Mike has got a gun put on Walt. He goes, "I don't, kid. This isn't about you. This is about this. Let me take care of it." And he's like, "Well, we got a bigger problem. Gus had a camera. It went somewhere. We need to get to that camera before the DEA gets the camera. It's you, me, everybody." So Mike plays ball with Walt and then basically gives a phone call. The DEA has the laptop. It's in the investigation. He couldn't get through it. So basically Mike says, "I'm out. Deuces. Like, good luck, everything." Jesse playing middleman basically says, "No, come on, we can do this." And then Walt and Jesse's Mike basically tells Jesse if he was smart, he'd take that money and just get out of here, like go, and get as far away as you want. They end up talking about how they can get it out of the thing. He's like, "It's built with concrete, everything. People aren't getting into this evidence room." And they're like, "Well, what about this? Maybe a small explosion." They get into the evidence room, they take it in, and they start a fire. "Oh, a fire. You don't think they have a fire?" And Jesse's over there. "What about a magnet? What about a magnet?" And he's like, "Oh, shit. That's actually a genius idea." So they go to the scrapyard, look for the magnet. They do it. Mike is still telling Jesse to get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, this is not going to, like, don't do this. All that situation ended up happening. Then we get a Skylar and Saul meet about Ted. Ted's alive. Ted woke up. So that situation happens. And then they end up testing. They did this pretty cool, like the testing of the magnet on the laptop. And of course, Walt wants it bigger. It ends up working right at the distance where they have it, and Walt's like, "I need more, bigger, and just more voltage. Can you do that?" And it's like, "Yeah." So they end up having this thing that they're going to go take care of the evidence claims. We'll see what ends up happening. Skylar goes and visits Ted. Ted is fucking paralyzed, fucking like. I guess paralyzed. I don't remember offhand, but
I think
he's got a crown.
yeah.
Vertebrae, basically. He is like in something. Ted says something very interesting to Skylar is like, we won't talk. Like, I didn't tell anybody anything. Like, this stays. I have a family. I have a kid. Like, I'm sorry. Skylar gets to see, like, Skylar basically as Heisenberg, like sitting there, like she's now a part of this, like the man that she had an affair with but loves, and like it didn't have to be this way, and now is like treated like a crime boss basically. So it's bad. They end up pulling up to the evidence room. They're standing outside of it, and they start turning on the magnet. It's working slowly and slowly. Shocking. Walter White pushes it too far. I would never be. I'm so shocked ever. Because it's already worked. Everything's against the thing. It's done. He cranks it. The whole fucker turns against the building, locks up. They have to get out, leave the vehicle behind, and Mike and them are driving, and Walt's like, there is no fingerprints, like, nothing about it, like, we're fine. They end up going through the next scene, they go through the evidence, they start looking through stuff. The laptop is shattered, back screen gone. They find a picture of Gustavo and another one, but on the back of it is routing numbers. It's account numbers for other dealings. So they didn't think of everything. So one move basically led them to more. So they basically made it even worse for themselves. Walt and Saul have an entire meeting about running like a distribution lab and like getting up and cooking and doing it all. Saul probably tries to play like hardball with Saul, and Saul is Walter is having zero of it. Like the pushing Walter around is no longer a thing. And basically shows him Heisenberg basically for the real first time. And we end the episode with Walter going home to Skylar and giving the most lifeless hug ever to each other, and it ends, goes black. Thoughts on that episode?
Yeah, you keep talking about this Walt guy. I don't have any Walt in my notes. I just got Heisenberg written down
That's
for
fair.
everything.
I'm saving that for a certain episode 7. I'm saving that for a certain episode 7.
I feel like from the end of the last season when he said I won, that's pretty much Walt is gone at that point.
Yeah, Walt is
all
gone.
Heisenberg.
There's no question.
Yeah, I love the whole magnet scheme, their little magnet thing. I thought that was really great, and it's real dark too at the end there. Pretty much where they're like how do you know it was done? How do we know? It was like because I said so.
Because I said so.
And I mean, I meant to bring this up last week just because I just thought it was such a great line at the end of the finale from previous week, is that like when Skylar like asks him because we see it again when Skylar asks him like, do you know anything about this? And she's like, well, what happened? And his response is, I won, which is just such a crazy fucking response. Like not we're safe, we're safe, good. Yeah. I won.
And you can see she's obviously like terrified whenever she's around him now. It's just a combination of being terrified and just being in shock that she's kind of like drifting through these episodes here. Because I mean she's known this guy for so many years, and she knows that this is a completely different guy.
Since middle of season 3 to the end of season 4, it has been Walt versus Gus. Mm-hmm. And basically he's won. It's not about his safety anymore. It's about him becoming who he is. Like he keeps chasing power, and he knew how to get rid of power. And even though he was the target of Gus was going to take him out at some point. We all knew it. He just shot before he shot for, like, that's the whole thing. Like, it's crazy.
I do want to just one slightly off topic thing is that this is another time where like we're kind of going like kind of out of order, and we're seeing Bryan Cranston. We're seeing like Bryan Cranston have to play like another earlier version of Walt. I will say he was 56 when I think around the time they shot this, and he was able to grow a full head of hair again. Like he clearly shaved his head and then regrew hair. Like that guy, like Bryan Cranston, hell of a head of hair for middle age.
Hell of a head. Yes.
Hell of a head of
hair.
Have
you seen him like fully during COVID? Like he had everything still. It's crazy. All right. Probably my favorite. I wouldn't even say cold. Yeah, my favorite cold opening of the show is this next episode that starts. We are introduced to overseas. Not really sure what is overseas, but we're just seeing them. Now we do know a little bit. Basically, Hank did bring up a company that is with a filtration system, and they're backing of American food chain. But it's since the guy's trying dipping sauces, basically, he ends up trying them. He ends up pushing away all the ketchup, and it's just funny. Like ketchup and like it just eats, and then he just pushes all the way and just eats, and then they get kicked out. And then a woman comes up and says, "Hey, they're back," and there's 3 of them this time. Like, okay, so he's like walking through this, like basically entryway, and they're taking down they have all these food things, and they're taking down the pollos, Los Pollos. And he ends up going into the bathroom. Well, he ends up walking up to where his office is. The police are in there, clearly. He's walking in. He grabs the defibrillator off the wall. He goes into the bathroom. He locks it. They're like, "Are you in there?" He's like, "Yes." And then the police show up and like, "Please open the door. Please open the door." He ends up putting one pad on the thing, tears the other thing, puts it in his mouth, hits the thing, and kills himself. Basically gone. He was definitely connected with with Gus, and the only way out is that. We get now Walt making another rice and cigarette. Because we learn that Jesse is going crazy around his house trying to find the cigarette. He doesn't know. There's no way that it could just be gone if somebody picks it up. So Walt picks one. He has the cigarette because what we learned last episode, I've missed this part, that Saul basically got Huel to take it out of his thing. Like he could have hurt him. It could have basically not knowing what it actually is. Like he's like his thumb is like an explosive or something. But he ends up taking it. He could put a whole assault. We could have killed us all. And then Walt says, "I'll agree to come help you, like, do it," right? He noticed they're looking, they can't find it anyways. Notice he's got like a Roomba, like going around vacuuming his floor. He's like, "Have you checked? I already checked it. How long ago? A couple weeks ago." The cigarette's in there. Walt's planted the cigarette. And we learned the previous episode where he's basically, when he was cleaning up the bomb, he cleaned up the lily. He got rid of the plant and everything. Like he made sure everything was clean. Jesse like has an emotional reaction because he was like, "I could have killed you. Like I could have shot you. Like I was going to kill you that night. And like I'm glad I didn't." All the stuff. Well, not telling you what to do, Jesse, but you should have pulled that fucking trigger. Bad guy. But overall, he ends up having a plan. Like he needs to start cooking. He wants to start operating again. Jesse's like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, what the fuck?" Like, okay. They end up going to Mike and having a conversation. Like they want to bring Mike into the fold. Mike is saying, "Hell no!" Like, "Nope, I'll pass. Thanks."
I mean, from day one, Mike knew exactly who Walt was. He clocked him from the get go.
Yeah,
I'm staying far away from you.
He's like, "It's not that I don't trust you, kid. I don't trust him, and he is a time bomb, and I am not going to be around for when it explodes." Like, and he is so true. He's like, "Well, Thank you. We're going forward though. Hank meets with the overseas meeting. Basically, no innocent man kills himself, is what they said. It's like, well, we don't know. Alleged. He's like, no innocent man killed himself. We're happy. We want to clear our name as a business, so we'll work with you however we see fit. Hank and the group are sitting there with their commissioner. Basically, he's like, I had dinner with this guy. He was right under my nose the entire time. Like, I didn't see it at all. Like, this is on me. Like, we had dinner. How did I not see it? While Hank is just sitting there across from him, sitting right under his nose is Heisenberg. Like, it's just completely different. We end up seeing Julie is Julia? Julia? Is that her name?
Lydia.
Lydia. Lydia comes in, a high-strung lady we meet for the first time. With Mike. Mike's sitting behind the counter. Pretty funny moment where like they're sitting in separate booths, and he's like, "We'll just talk like this, talk quietly, blah blah." Knowing that Mike goes there all the time, Mike moves the spots and like sits there. The waitress comes up and he calls her a different. She calls him a different name, and he goes, "You have just coffee, Mike?" Like, it's not that serious. She basically says there's 11 people still on the payroll, and they're all getting like cornered in by the DEA. And Mike's like, "You want me to kill all my guys? Like, this is what you're wanting me to tell you?" And he's like, "No, I'm just saying, like, what if they talk? Like, this is you, this is me, we take over." He's like, "Next time, don't come to me with a plan to kill my own guys." And like, "What about Chow? What about all these people?" He's like, "Yeah, and I think they remember clearly who, like, put the bullet and hurt their hand and stuff." Like, he's basically, stop. Like, these are my guys, I've got it.
This is a great scene. I love they pretty much just show you her whole character in that one scene, and I love especially too that they show that she carries her stevia around with her just in case she needs it at a restaurant.
Yeah, she always has to have her 5 stevias. Yeah. And we Skylar's been a shell of herself. Skylar's still in bed, like not doing anything. Mike shows up at the DEA to get interviewed. Chow is walking out and is like, "Yep, I'm sure they'll keep coming at you. Like, no issues." They're sitting there talking to Mike. He's like, "You work in security? Like, you after your prison record? Like, all this stuff? Like, am I being detained? I don't know anything about any drug thing. Nothing." He gets up. Will starts to leave. They're like, "Yeah, well, we did find $2 million in your granddaughter's name. Like, you know anything about that? Like, man, she's the big pin about this whole drug court." We're like, "Oh, no, maybe the grandpa is, you know?" So Mike still doesn't spill. He walks out, motherfucker, just pissed off. Saul and Mike and Jesse are meeting to talk about like plans, like where they can find business and do all the situations. Mike gets a phone call with his granddaughter. Chow is like, "They keep talking. I'm getting worried. I'm freaking out. Blah blah blah." Mike ends up going to meet Chow, and another guy. Basically, some of the guys on the 11 are getting a little shaky. Mouths are about to be open, so Mike has to take out both of them. Basically, walk in, kind of cool shot where he's like, the guy's looking out the window, and Chow's already been killed, and he ends up killing the other guy, basically, and it's affecting Mike because he's having to like take out guys that he's trusted for however long.
Because we find out that Lydia had paid that one guy to go around and kill all the other people.
Yes. But he's sad that he ended up having to do it, and then basically we have Mike goes to Lydia's house and ends up taking her. He's gonna end up killing her, and he's like, "No one's gonna find your body, like nothing." Just like, "No, my daughter can't know that I just disappeared, like I abandoned her. You can't do that." And then doesn't pull the trigger on Lydia. Doesn't kill Lydia. Just leaves her alive because he can't do it. He just couldn't pull the trigger, which is not a Mike thing. Mike can normally pull the trigger, but it's a moment that Mike, I think, will regret later, but he just can't do it. And then more lifelessness. Walt is at home. White goes to snuggle up with Skylar. Skylar is like terrified of the man, breaks down, cries, but the lights go off while he kisses her. And that is Madrigal. Thoughts?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this
There you go. Okay. I meant to bring this up. I think in the last episode. I think it's kind of I think we kind of found ourselves in kind of a neat spot for Skylar, in a sense where I think it's kind of where we see her separate from Walt as a character. Just because I meant to bring this up. At least the thing with Ted, where she clearly was having fun with the crime element of this. I think she was somewhat having fun with the money laundering. She was having fun kind of doing these backdoor deals like on Bogdan, and kind of she was kind of having fun just dipping her toe in this crime element. But the moment she got blood on her hands, the moment like things kind of went wrong, and the moment where she kind of had to answer for some violence is when she kind of went a bit off the rails. And like just kind of seeing her in the depression season from that, and also the fact that her husband is now a fucking monster. Like I think we're seeing kind of an interesting bit, at least for her going forward. And then this is just a great fucking Mike episode, and like Mike really adds he adds a real good spark into this first half, especially since like he kind of is playing as the reluctant gangster at this point, like him, because even at that moment, even though he does just want to kill her, he's like, where does this put me? Like I'm back at zero. I have no money. Like I'm not gonna be able to leave anything for I still kind of need her around, even though it's probably a bad idea. Like I know she's gonna turn on me at some point, but I gotta make hay while the sun's still shining here, somewhat.
Oh yeah.
Is that when he also tells her that he needs the methanol or methylene? Yeah. So basically leaves her alive because he is going to go to business with Walt. That's just how it claims to be.
I mean, they do a great job of pretty much just at the beginning setting up as like, I'm done with you guys. I'm out of this whole thing. And it kind of shows the reasons of why he needs to get back in. He pretty much lost all the money he's been saving up for his granddaughter and all of his guys. I mean, he's loyal to all of his guys and he wants to make sure that they're well taken care of. So they don't rat on him. And so he's got loyalty towards them too. So that pretty much puts him in a situation where he knows he can't really trust her, but he needs her. He knows that he can't trust Walt, but he needs him in order to kind of help make everybody whole again. So yeah, it's a really great episode.
All right, final episode of this week is Hazard Pay. Lawyer shows up at the prison. Got a new paralegal with him, known as Mike. Mike meets with one. He goes, "Hey, the hazard, like, with Gus is gone, the hazard pay's gone. Like, they're taking. I have nothing. I'm in here for 8 years. Like, that's just what it is. But like everything else, my family." And he's like, "Hazard pay stays. Like, we will get it all figured out. No issues whatsoever." Basically, Skylar and Walt's moving back in. And Skylar is having a lot of fun effects with that one.
Why not?
Also,
Why
Mike leaves the thing, and he's like, "Well, you got a few guys in this one. You don't want to hit them all today, do you?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." And then he looks at that camera and goes, "Let's go!" Like screams. It's what Mike is just. Mike is. It'd be fun when we do enough of these shows, like rank all-time characters. Mike has got to be like very high on a lot of lists, but he's moving in. Why not? Seems about right. Seems about time. Yeah, the guy that just blew up a flipping nursing home. Let's just bring him into the hat. Like, yeah, but that's what it is. Saul, Mike, and Jesse are in the meeting. Mike has joined the fray. He's going to join the group. Saul is not happy about Mike joining because he threatened to break his legs. And basically, Mike says, I handle the business, you handle the cook. Like, don't tell me how to run my business. Saul goes, you good with that? And he goes, yes. He handles the business, and I handle him. Like, okay, Walt. They end up touring a bunch of different places. There's problems with each one. One about like the chemicals. The other's a tortilla plant. Basically, tortillas taste like cat piss. Like that's a bad idea. Any food product. They drive by the laser tag place and they're like, not a chance. Like I think it's just funny that they try that again. And honestly, one of the most genius ideas that I've ever thought. Like when they do it, they're gonna just do it in pest control. Basically, they have to put those tents over the house. Once you see a tent, they make a very smart thing. Once you see a tented house, you don't think of anything. And you definitely don't think about going in that motherfucker. So you just leave it alone. They think about tenting it. I think that's the best plan. Set off bombs, go in there, plant cooks. They don't go. They skit. We get two characters that come back: Badger and Skinny Pete.
Skinny Pete.
Yeah. Back in, they're gonna buy like roadie equipment, like band traveling equipment to get all their mess stuff in the houses. We'll get it personalized. We'll you'll put your band name on it, which I wish I could have saw that art. Yeah, we'll call it this. A young Jesse Plemons, right? Yeah, he's in this. He's part of the crew that's going to be helping the situation. They end up doing their first cook inside the house. They're like, how much bomb are you going to put in this house? As they roll one of them over and over. They don't question it really. After that point, they go in. They end up cooking their meth. It comes out perfectly where they're sitting there. Walt, motherfucking Walt, just a bad guy, just a very bad guy. Sits there on the couch with Jesse, just talking to him about his girl, and says, "Oh, I figure you'll do the right thing, about this lifestyle. But if love is love, you do you. But I trust that you'll make the right call." Basically, just can't. Jesse can never have anything nice, anything good, anything pleasant. Just fuck you, just everything.
I think that was more kind of he just doesn't want to be reminded about what he did. And that's a constant reminder.
Yes, but it's still just motherfucker. Marie and Skylar are at the car wash, and Marie doing what Marie does is just fucking talking and yelling at the people for how they are washing. You got to do it in a circle. They're lonely streets. I know this is your business, blah, blah, blah. And like talking about like Walt and everything like that. And like she just loses it. Shut up. 75 shut ups later, Marie doesn't shut up. Marie sits at the house, waits for Walt to get home. Marie goes, I'm not leaving this house until you tell me what's going on. Like, I need to know. Fucking Walt tells Marie about the Beneke affair. Like, what? Keep it calm. Marie leaves. And it's the most ominous look because after it happens, Walt just like stands in the hallway, like looking down, like at the room, just like, motherfucker's just a villain beyond villain at this point. Jesse ends up cutting it off with his girl because this, and then one of the just best scenes ever is Hank, Jesse, and them are carving out money for the situation. They all see how much this actually costs to run everything and do it all. And then it comes to the thing of legacy payments, 317,000 or whatever to legacy payments. It's 117 from each one of us. What the fuck? He's like, what the fuck is legacy payments? He's like, hazard pay. My guys from the original crew. Well, if they're the original crew, it sounds like it comes from your situation. Listen, I run the business. This is how it works, blah, blah, blah. Jesse's like, take it out of mine. I don't care. Like, just take it, whatever. No, Jesse, we'll pay our half. No problem. Blah blah. Ends up paying it, and it's they have like $140,000 or whatever left over from their. I think it was like upwards of. I don't know how much it was before that, but it was a good amount. Jesse kind of like breaks it down to Walt. He's like, "You're thinking about this all wrong. Like, we used to sell 200. We used to cook 200 pounds. We just barely made 50. Like, dude, we're making good enough like money on what it is, or we'll just have to cook more." And basically ends on that. But he does say, what does he say that line? The Victor thing.
Mm-hmm.
Victor cooked, and maybe it was because he cooked and he took liberties that wasn't his to take. Like, maybe, like, just left it alone, like up in the air. Like, maybe Mike's got to go. Basically, is what he's saying, and it's just like left Jesse like, fuck, like, god damn it, Walt. Walt can't ever let any good things lie. Like, he just has got to be in the shit. And basically what you guys are saying about Skyler, Walt loved Breaking Bad. Skyler did not like Breaking Bad. She broke bad and she wanted to go back to good really bad. Walt is full in bad. Like, he's there. So I think it's a great
she
episode.
thought that he was just like going to a place and cooking drugs and then coming home. She didn't know about all the stuff that was going on.
She still has no idea what his entail is. Like, that's crazy. Thoughts on the episode? I think it's a great episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love the whole stuff, the little tent city stuff. I think that's a really great scene. We get introduced to Todd, who's already proven to be a go-getter. He warns them about the nanny cam that was in there, that he disabled it for him. Which
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just Heisenberg is just it's just getting out of control, and him and Mike are definitely already button heads, and it's definitely creating a lot of cool tension. And of course, the Skylar stuff, she's just pretty much just a shell of herself right now. It's going to be interesting to see what it takes to get her back out of that. So.
Yeah. I mean, Breaking Bad, I think, has always been good at. It's always been good at thrusting us into new situations, because I feel the last time when Walter was thrown into kind of a new situation, that new situation with Gus, I feel like whenever we got there, we thought to ourselves, this has the potential of sticking, of lasting. We know from minute one here with this new deal with him, Jesse, and Mike, this shit isn't going to work out. Walter's going to torpedo this somehow, because it just, in real perfect fashion, honestly, in these 3 episodes, we just see how Walt's ego has evolved into what it is, where he now thinks he's for sure the smartest person in the room. No, he can't do any wrong. Every move that he makes is perfect. It's just
I took out Gus. I'm better than Gus. I'm the new and improved Gus.
Yeah, what Gus and Mike says it best at one point. He goes, "Well, Gus did this or whatever. Gus built a 20-year empire that you just crushed over. You ain't Gus." He says something too. He's like, "Just because you were doesn't make you the guy. Like, just because you took out the guy doesn't make you the guy." And he's like, "Yep, facts." And for Jesse to realize, like, dude, we're cooking 200, we're barely making 50. Like, you don't realize that this is why we're not like. Be thankful for, like, this is still $100,000 for basically
for like an afternoon's work.
Yeah,
just do that like 3 times a week,
dude. If you motherfucker do this 10 times, you're a millionaire. Like, what are you talking about? Stop.
Which, I mean, Jesse's probably already a millionaire at this point, because he kept pretty much most of his money.
He doesn't use any of it.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
He bought his house for $400,000, and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't even get high anymore. So basically, he's just cigarettes.
Which it's crazy. I thought Walt would have had more than like that $600,000 already at this point, but now he's like
$800,000 for the laundromat.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did buy the line. Okay, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's where that went. He spent that shit fast.
Yeah.
$600,000 to Ted, $800, and it was only $3 million for 3 months of work, basically.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Go on, Bill.
What was it? Yeah, just also I mentioned Jesse Plemons. Like, very excited to see, especially in the next couple episodes. Gonna be a fun ride to see Todd.
How many do we watch next? Is it also no more fours?
We're doing 3. Very very good Todd storylines coming up very shortly.
Okay.
That's good.
I just don't want to leave off on
a
this Todd storyline.
Also, just want to mention just kind of a funny thing I thought, because I think I mentioned before, like on the Ryson, I think they're like maybe low level. This is just kind of maybe my weird brain going on, like low level assassins definitely using Ryson to poison people before.
It happened, yeah.
Were 100% drug dealers that were using this pest scam before.
No.
That they were definitely making meth in like these tented houses. And Breaking Bad just has to ruin it for everybody. Like, because now we look at a tented house, we are kind of thinking a little bit, somebody cooking meth in there? Like nobody's looking at that the same anymore. Like Breaking Bad.
I drive by one. Every time again, it doesn't happen too often, but when we drive by one, I always look at my wife and like, meth. She's like, what? It's like, they're cooking meth in there. She's never seen Breaking Bad. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's like, they're cooking meth. So what they're doing in there. She's like, oh, no. I was like, yeah, 100%. That's why after the show,
a good file it away for later. That Walt did keep that ricin, and he kind of put it behind one of the outlets. So
yeah,
you never know when you might need that.
Yeah, certain packet. And then she also and after the show, like when the people there was a case of somebody going to jail because they tried to kill somebody with ricin from the show. They tried to use it and it backfired. It's just like crazy. I wonder how many evidence rooms did not end up on the outside of the buildings, and they were now moved to the interior of the building because one jackass with a magnet comes out on the other side of it and see what they can do. But that's the show this week. We will be back finishing up The Wire season 4 next week, right? Gone with that. And then we are in the middle of 5s for this. We're almost done. We do have an announcement. We are doing a mid-season break. So what we're basically going to do is after the show, we're going to do a 3-week mini-series episodes. We've decided on Chernobyl, Band of Brothers, and 11/22/63. Those are the 3 that we are doing. They're going to in between. And then we will take the rest of the year off. Episodes may run the entire time, but episodes will take a time off, and then we'll be back for season 2 after that, which we will announce at a later date of the episodes or the seasons that we are doing. Big ones coming. Can't wait. Excited. Me, Matt, and Mark. I bet if we look back like 3 or 4 years, like, would this be the grouping that does this? I don't know if we would have came across this group, but I'm really glad we did come across this group. Thank God for a knockout in Melee that led to this design. And Mike and Nazario is supposed to be here too. Can you imagine how long those episodes would have been? Thank God they weren't able to show up because we'd have to tell them now. Not invited. Sorry, can't do this. But we will be back next 2 weeks with the next to end The Wire season 4. Bye-bye.